Whomsoever this may concern, Christian Aguilar here back with another series review. And in today's series review, I'm going to be reviewing specifically episodes 1 to 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was originally just going to review the first 2 episodes. However, by the time I recorded and was in the middle of editing that video, episode 3 was out. I was under the impression they were coming out every Friday, but I guess they're going to now start, uploading them every Wednesday, just per usual. But since the first 2 were on a Friday, I was just under that assumption. So I decided to redo the review so I can review episodes 1 to 3, which is nice because we are technically halfway through the season, so I can give my thoughts so far on the season halfway through it, and I'm not going to review it until the next 3 come out and it's finished and it's one whole season, and I'll review it in its entirety then. But for now, I'm going to be reviewing the first 3 episodes. So Obi-Wan Kenobi stars Moses Ingram, Vivian Lara Blair, Rupert Friend, Sung Kang, Kumail Nanjiani, Joel Egerton, Simone Kessel, Jimmy Smits, Benny Safdie, Hayden Christensen, and of course Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi himself. And the show picks up 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, following Obi-Wan Kenobi in his isolation on Tatooine. Despite him being tasked to look over the young Luke Skywalker, he has to abandon his post in order to go off planet to save a young Leia Organa from being kidnapped, all while being hunted by the sinister Grand Inquisitor. Kenobi must fend off new threats, all while coming face to face with his past. Now I'm going to start by discussing everything I liked from these first 3 episodes, and then I'm going to go into my worries later on after I list everything I enjoyed. So I really enjoyed how the first episode, right off the bat, when you jump right into it, it recaps the main beats of the prequels, specifically the relationship with Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, how Obi-Wan became his master, the whole duel of fates with Darth Maul, Qui-Gon, and Obi-Wan is re-shown again. It's just a nice little time capsule of nostalgia for people my age that grew up with the prequels in theaters. It honestly made me want to go back and watch the prequel trilogy. It was just that good. And it really got you into it because it told you the stakes. It sets them up perfectly. It's like, if you don't know the story, here it is. This is why this series matters, and this is what we're going to be exploring. Everything post this. So it's really cool to see them explore this timeline between episodes 3 and 4. I mean, this period in the Star Wars timeline, if you're a longtime Star Wars fan, has always been intriguing to you. You've always wanted to see this little gray area right before, where Luke's not around yet because Luke is still a kid, but Vader is very much around, and it's after, the whole Jedi Order has been, destroyed. So it's always been a very interesting time. I remember even Force Unleashed was set during this time with Vader's Secret Apprentice, so that really sold the video game, was that intrigue of like, what happened during this time period. And then if it wasn't that, then it was Rogue One that came out and said, well, here's a story about how the Death Star plans came to be. Come buy tickets, So there's always been intrigue with this little time period, and I love how, this is, if we're going to see any story, if any story is going to really crave our satisfaction, it's going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm glad that they're telling his story finally. It's been a long time coming for Obi-Wan Kenobi fans, Star Wars fans, especially if you love Ian McGregor as the character, which even in the show and the prequels, he is great as Kenobi. I mean, he is Kenobi. It's him and Alec Guinness, man, and it's going to be really crazy to see what they do with this character, if they do anything with Obi-Wan in the future. So it's very interesting to know that this is a specific time that we're living in. It's like it's just that proper time where we can bring back a certain character and explore a certain part in their story, and it feels right, it feels proper, and that's the main reason why I like this, is because it's bringing that nostalgia and it's playing into that curiosity of this gray area time period. They know what they're doing, and they're doing it pretty nicely so far. Even to know that Hayden Christensen is back as Vader, he's in the full body suit, every time he's on screen, or every time we see the helmet off of him and we see just his eyes, we know that's Hayden Christensen in full makeup, in full costume. So that's just really epic to know in the back of your head, just to have there when you watch this series, is that Hayden Christensen is in the bodysuit, while it's James Earl Jones' voice that we traditionally hear as Vader. And I like how in the end credits it says James Earl Jones as the voice of Vader, and then right after his credit is Hayden Christensen's credit. And I'm like, wow, that is so cool to see this you know, to see them finally as one, like one in the same character. You know, we got a little bit of that at the end of Revenge of the Sith, but now it's, you know, they're fully one character, and it's pretty epic. I really like the casting of young Leia and the choice to show Alderaan, to really flesh out that planet and to flesh out Leia's childhood before the inevitable tragedy that happens in the original Star Wars movie, or Episode 4. I think the young actress that they have plays her really well. She's really charming, and she's also really funny, and she also portrays that whole outcast persona that, you know, Leia is, because she's not of Organa blood, right? She's a Skywalker. So to have that whole "I don't belong here, where is my place" a little bit, along with the whole, you know, the spirit, the hopefulness, you know, that Princess Leia has, the rebelliousness that she has. Like, whenever Obi-Wan gives her orders, because, you know, she gets kidnapped and Obi-Wan has to go and save her, whenever Obi-Wan gives her orders, she doesn't kind of go with it, you know? She talks for herself, you know? She's very outspoken, and that is Princess Leia in the original trilogy. So I like how this young actress is able to capture that and able to portray that on screen, and I'm enjoying it, you know, so far. It's really cool. I didn't know they were going to do a young Leia story arc, or they were going to have her in this series at all, so it was a welcome surprise for me when I saw that in the first episode, so it was really cool to see. And of course, with that, I like how it gave Obi-Wan a reason to get off planet, because if you're a Star Wars fan, you were most likely curious as to how they were going to get Obi-Wan off of Tatooine, if they were even going to do so, because to our knowledge, he never left Tatooine, and he was always hiding out ever since Order 66. He was hiding out there because he was keeping an eye on Luke. But when the series was announced, they were like, well, how are you going to get him off planet? You can't leave Luke, because people are going to be coming after Luke. But I think it was a pretty smart and creative idea to have, you know, Leia get kidnapped. Typical princess business, get kidnapped, and you must get rescued by the hero, you know? So I really like how they have that. And they have Jimmy Smith return. Jimmy Smith's returning as Senator Organa was also a great, great treat. But I love how he tells Kenobi essentially that she's just as important as Luke. You know, they're both his kids. So if either one of them gets captured or ends up in the wrong hands, stuff could go catastrophic, man. We've basically failed our mission. So I like how he vouches for Leia in that way. He's like, she's just not my daughter. She's just as important as Skywalker. She is a Skywalker, you know? And I'm just getting into my worries here just a little bit. I did have a little worry as to why Obi-Wan initially denied it. It would seem like Obi-Wan would know that they're both equally important, but I think for the sake of course, revealing what happens to Benny Safdie's character, which I do like also. Benny Safdie's character is a really interesting character, and I would love it if we had like a comic book or a video game that was centered around him, because he's gone through some stuff. He literally says, "You have no idea what I've been through." I want to see what he's been through, and it'd be cool to have like a little side story somewhere, somehow, and it can't even a novelization. I'd take a novelization just to see what he went through, and of course, that leads up to his spoilers, inevitable tragedy, you know. So despite him being put off about like Kenobi not seeing the importance with Leia being kidnapped, you know, right off the bat, it does make sense because they needed to show Benny Safdie, you know, being strung up in the middle of town square, and that is basically what pushes Kenobi to go after her. It's like, well, he pleaded for help from me, I didn't help him. Now I feel bad because he's dead, so maybe I should go help Leia. But yeah, last thing I like so far is the choreography of the lightsaber fights. When they showed Order 66 in the very first episode, the Jedi mentor that was protecting the younglings, the way she was moving was very samurai-esque, as if she was fighting with like a samurai sword rather than a lightsaber. I just love how the inspiration of martial arts is still very much there and still very much potent, you know, and I like seeing different fighting styles for different Jedi masters, you know, because no two are typically the same. Everyone has their own preferred fighting style, you know, and so it's cool to see them demonstrate a vast number of different fighting styles with lightsabers. And of course, when it comes to the huge fight with Vader and Kenobi in Episode 3, right now, right here, my personal favorite has to be probably Episode 3, for obvious reasons. I mean, I'm still trying to come down from the excitement of that episode, but it just has not left. And I absolutely adore the sequence with Vader and Obi-Wan. That's just that's just awesome, man. That's a Star Wars wet dream right there, was episode 3. And of course, if you're a huge Vader fan, if you liked the scene at the end of Rogue One, you'd love episode 3 of Obi-Wan. So that's me, man. I'm a sucker for Vader. He's awesome. But when it comes to their fight, I do enjoy the fact that, one, he's showing how strong Vader is. They're showing that he just needs one hand to go at Kenobi. He doesn't need both. The second hand's for the Force using, and that's how strong he is. He has like robotic. He doesn't have any limbs, so his limbs are replaced with animatronics. So they're going to be stronger. They're going to be more durable. So it's cool to see that he's like a tank of death. He's not agile. He's not quick. He's just a big brute force of destruction. And it's just, no matter where Vader goes, there's always going to be a line of bodies that follow him. And I love how they gave off that sense and that vibe of Vader. So to get into some of the worries I had when watching these first 3 episodes, I think it was maybe episode 1 or 2, I think it might have been 1, where the chase scene was with a young Leia and Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. With that chase scene, it just felt too stiff. It felt poorly choreographed. It seemed like Leia wasn't running that fast, nor were the goons chasing her really making an effort to really capture her. They're kind of like letting her run away because, they obviously have to let her run away. They can't capture her too early. And so it just feels very fake. It feels very stiff. It felt very off. And, I couldn't help but knock the episode for that, This is Disney, man. It could have been choreographed better, it could have been filmed, but it just felt very cheap and fake. Also, there's a moment where one of the goons gets stopped by a tree branch. I mean, Leia went under it perfectly. I know she's smaller and she's a kid, but looking at the size, I mean, an adult could have just easily squatted under and went right through, but she's just like, tree branch, so that was just a little too goofy for my taste. And along with that, some of the wide shots, some of the establishing shots look a tiny bit fake, like especially when the cargo train is taking the workers back and forth. You see the sand and the smoke looking a little CGI-ish, like it looks like it's separated from the background a little bit. It stands out, especially when Obi-Wan's walking with that anteater horse camel looking thing. Whenever it steps in the sand and the sand's blowing off, again, that looks CGI. I know it's nitpicking and it's not the most terrible CGI work. There's way more terrible CGI work. Again, this is a Disney product. With Disney and the amount of money that they have, you expect top-notch quality. Like, this stuff should, look at Pirates of the Caribbean, the CGI on Davy Jones. Bill Knightley as Davy Jones. Great performance, by the way. That's top-notch. Video for another time. But look at that CGI work. That was 2006. It's 2022. Come on. Some of this stuff should be looking top-notch. And unfortunately, I gotta knock the show for that as well. But it's not like it's gonna take you out of the episode. It's not gonna ruin the experience for you. Okay, so I'm gonna step into the controversy here just a little bit, with the whole third sister, Reva, and the actress that plays her. Obviously, if you've seen the rendered image at Watch Along for episode 3, and if you're caught up with that, if you're not, link to the channel down below. But if you've seen that, you've heard that obviously all of us are against those racist negative comments that are being said by some members of the Star Wars fan base. And I don't agree with those comments. No, the actors should not be attacked for the character they're portraying. It's a job. It's just them doing their job. They're getting paid to do it, and this is their profession. So they shouldn't be targeted if the character is not likable or if the character wasn't written or fleshed out well. So it's not just in Star Wars. There's a couple of other franchises that hate comments have been left for and been targeted to the actors themselves, and it's just not appropriate. You can't critique. That's not a proper critique at all. Just showing hate towards the people that make it or showing hate towards the person that's portraying it. It's not a critique. That's not a valid critique. So it should be staying off of any reviews or thoughts about the product itself. Review it for what it is, not attack the people with hatred. Come on. It's common sense. Just don't do that, But in terms of what I thought of her performance, at first, it didn't stand out as bad to me. At first, it did not whatsoever. I'll be honest with you. I heard a lot of my friends say that her acting was forced. She didn't feel threatening, which I'm not arguing totally against because I rewatched it. And I'm like, okay, I can see what they're saying now. But come on, that is not the shittiest acting I've seen. And I'm pretty sure it's not the shittiest acting you've seen. So don't sit there and be like, oh, her acting's the shittiest thing we've seen, and and this and that. It's not. It's not that bad. And I'm not saying it's great, but it's not that bad, It didn't take me out of the show. It didn't stand out to me as, oh, that's too forced, or that's just, no, it's just rubbing me the wrong way. I went with it, man. I went with it. It got me, She didn't take me out of the show. And it's not until I heard people complain about it that I had to take a step back, and I'm like, okay, I see where they're coming from. But again, it's not the worst we've seen. So to really see that her character really rose up in controversy is pretty surprising to me personally. And I still am very curious about her character, regardless of any, negatives or whatever there may be about the character. I'm still very interested in seeing where she goes. I kind of hope that she becomes and evolves into this rogue badass that Starkiller was in The Force Unleashed. It'd be nice to kind of have that character roaming around in the universe, especially if one, like, this person's not a Jedi, nor are they a Sith. They could be a gray Jedi, or they could be, just that rogue that goes back and forth. Maybe they have a purple lightsaber. That would be cool to see her evolve into an individual that has a purple lightsaber. Or she dual wields and uses one red, one blue. Tell me if I'm getting too crazy. You lore fanatics, tell me if that's not possible, or if it is. Let me know down below. But I could see her character evolving into that, because she's already demonstrating that, hey, I'm going against the Grand Inquisitor's orders. Hell, spoilers, I'm going to kill the Grand Inquisitor, right? And leave people guessing what the hell's canon and what's not. But I'm going to kill the Grand Inquisitor, and I'm going to be the next in line to be the leader, and I'm going to stand next to Lord Vader proudly and stuff. So it seems like she's already taking control of her own life. She's already being dominant, and I think that's just a great stepping stone for a rogue badass character like that. And I hope that's where she evolves. I hope she becomes someone that is like a force to be reckoned with if you're on her bad side. That would be pretty cool to see. But I feel like they could have slowly built up to that whole, oh, I'm just going to start disobeying orders. Having her disobey orders right off the bat, I believe, made her come off as an annoying character, and made her kind of come off as, well, what gives you the right to do this? The fifth brother feels that way as well, who's portrayed awesomely by Han from Fast and Furious movies. I didn't know that was the same actor, so to know that that's the same actor, that's pretty cool. But you can understand his annoyance, because it's like, well, he's kind of like the audience. He's like, well, who the hell are you? Who gives you the right to disobey us? And it kind of comes off as annoying, so I can see why a lot of people aren't really resonating with her character. But if they would have slowly built up, like maybe the Grand Inquisitor abuses his power, and she feels that, and she's kind of like, well, hell, if he's going to do this, maybe I could lead it better. Maybe if there was a slow build up there to really sell the fact that I'm going to disobey and go against the Grand Inquisitor's orders, maybe that would have been a better, introduction to her character. Not automatically have her take charge and try to be her own thing, It seems like she's trying to overcompensate for something, or trying to be interesting automatically, and then that's not the actress's fault. Hear me. That's not the actress's fault. This is a writing and creative direction decision. So with all that being said, what do I give the first 3 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi? Episode 3 helped out a lot, because the first 2 episodes, I had a lower rating for the first 2 episodes. But for episode 3 in there, and the 3 as a whole, I have to give it a solid 4 out of 5 Skarsgårds. Yes, 4 out of 5 Skarsgårds so far. That score could either go up or it could go down, depending on the next 3 episodes, the second half of this season. How's that going to play out? So it's going to be very interesting to see what I rate it when all 6 episodes are out and it's one whole complete thing. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be, reviewing it once it's finished. And I have a lot of other reviews down the pipeline. I've seen a lot of recent movies like Doctor Strange, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Men, a lot of movies I got to review, and I've been watching TV shows as well. So there's just so much content to watch and so much to review, and I will be doing that. I've been recording it, getting all that ready for you guys to check out. So with all that being said, thank you so much for reaching to the end of this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Support the channel. It's always very much appreciated. The rendered image is show I co-host my good friends Tyler and Shannon. Link to that channel will be down below in the description. I hope you're all safe and well out there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.